final series of the day. It is Tofu as the green player in the bottom left. Since when are the challenges in the bottom left? And KJ as the red player in the top right.
Yeah. Yeah, Indy swapped you were in the top right as well. And I was like, Indy, man, I've had my scoreboard correct all day long. And now this. Bro.
Scorpion. And Tofu has Shockers and Destroyers. KJ just has Destroyers on tier 2. What do you make of that?
That's kind of fascinating, no?
I guess he's not going to play Scorpions. He's going to go 3-base recall. Then it would make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, he does have heavy hunters as well, right? But there's just no splash. It's so... I don't know how these guys feel okay playing with, like, no splash. Like against some decks, I feel like you just absolutely need some kind of splash. Like,
yeah.
I don't play a lot of splash, but I have, like, an option to go splash if I'm terrified, and that happens a lot.
I feel like if there are devastating splash moments, I just play air. But that is good for me right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I try to take advantage of the fact that Gunbot Crusader is... It's not the most mobile comp in the game, but it's also not immobile, right?
No. Yeah. No, it's pretty sick, man. Those Gunbots just sit behind the Crusaders and just have the time of their life.
Yeah. The Crusaders just don't die. And they actually deal decent damage. As long as they're not derping, if you just have like the right amount where they all kind of fight. Tofu, by the way, goes for attack right now. It's going to make Shockers and Destroyers. KJ goes recall into air. So he can make Mammoths, but he can also make Dragonflies.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun little combination and definitely going to keep your opponent on their toes. Tofu does go ground, which means he'll have the Destroyers against the Mammoths, but he'll only have Blink Hunters against Dragonflies. So I think this is a case where you go Dragonflies first, force Blink Hunters, then you can go some Mammoths maybe. And obviously you can have the Dragonflies maybe try and pick off Destroyers ahead of fights would be very effective if you can make that happen.
Yeah. Scorpions out in large numbers. We have it's a funny mix between Scorpions and Recallers on the side of KJ. Like, sometimes I like it, but honestly, I love Recallers if you just go all out recall, because I think they're so good in large numbers. And then at one point you can just teleport all over the map as well. You don't really need to do it with your entire army. And you can even take an offensive 5th base and teleport your entire army there. I mean, obviously, if you go for Scorpion run-bys, there is always potential, especially because Tofu's army ideally is not great in dealing with it. Shockers are now going to go to take care of that, but we still end up losing 6 or 8 workers at least, maybe 9? It is 7. Whatever.
7's pretty decent, as you do see. The Mammoths are going to push into the center with some recalls behind it, some Scorpions to try and hold the front, and we're going to go for this base, just target that down, and obviously we can't recall out because a lot of the units can't recall, but maybe just give up a couple units to get out of here. The Shockers obviously come around on the other side though, and they're going to start putting some damage in. As this is kind of confusing because Tofu's units are naturally red apparently, so we have just everyone having red units.
That is indeed a bit confusing, especially because we have 2 sides of Scorpions as well. I think sending 6 Shockers to your natural to deal with 5-6 Scorpions was not the play. As we now have maybe a couple of Dragonflies showing up as well. There are Destroyers in the mix. I do think Tofu is going to dominate on the ground, but the man's got no end here.
Yep, this is where those Dragonflies can start putting some work in. At the very least, though, we're going to get rid of a base here. I mean, you got to do something, though, because you're losing all your economy on your natural. You have no third of your own. So even right now, this is not it for Tofu. KJ has those Dragonflies, and they're going to slowly put him into the lead. Some Blink Hunters showing up, but not enough all at once.
Yeah, we need way more. We need way more. I didn't like that final recall, by the way, by KJ, because now he just lost a couple of extra recallers for no reason. I mean, it's still a game. And if this is how it looked now, imagine if Tofu, instead of going 6 recall Shockers to the natural, he sends 1 with 2 Scorpions, and the rest goes to the middle immediately. I think he takes an even better fight, because all of this would have taken place earlier. Dragonflies would have not been out yet. KJ is now just going to have a really fun time flying around with Dragonflies. I mean, Blink Hunters in high enough numbers can absolutely deal with it, and let's see how these fights are going to go.
Well, I'm just going to scout onto a couple of different workers here initially. I mean, this is the problem with the Blink Hunters. You can't blink across this like gap from the natural to the main base, so it's very frustrating. You do kind of need 2 different groups. But now the Dragonflies get pushed back up the left, but a few more workers going down keeps KJ in a comfortable economic position. He lost a lot, but he's already back up to higher supply, and he's already setting a bunch of Scorpions around the top as well. I wonder where they're going to sit and what is going to kind of be that trigger to kind of go and commit forward.
Both players afraid to re-expand at the moment. We also have not seen tier 3. I kind of think tier 3 would have been pretty cool here by KJ. I know you're not a believer of the Bull Arc, but they're actually not too bad in these very scrappy low eco games where you do have more than your opponent. Your opponent only has tier 1 anti-air. I actually think tier 3 air attack would have been fine for KJ, but if he's just saving up, that's fine too.
I believe in the Bulwark in a game like this one.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater in that regard. I've just not seen it used a lot more than anything as well, so it's difficult to know how they interact with things.
I mean, how do you compete with the cat boss? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. If you play, if you've got a bulwark in your deck instead of a cat boss, I'm already kind of a little bit suspicious about you, man.
Yeah, I am not sure if we can actually be friends. I mean, sure, I can say hello, but you will not get a wedding invitation. Yeah, we will fix the colors next game, guys. There was a mistake. A nice blink, by the way, this time around on top of the Dragonfly. So good fight. Still 2 base against 2 base. Very competitive game. It's a very weird game. It's a random game. I'm starting to believe that this is actually going somewhere for Tofu now, because aren't these destroyers just going to have the time of their lives against all these mammoths? I feel that KJ really could have either expanded or gone tier 3 air. He's done neither of those things. A base trade is absolutely not necessary here for Tofu, by the way, but I think whatever he decides to do, I feel like it should go fine for him.
Yeah, he's gonna go across the right. What I do like about this for KJ is he's got some units at home to defend, to at least slow the base trade a little bit. So I don't know if that's going to be enough. There's a lot of blinks over here, but I'm not sure if they're going to necessarily be enough defensively. So let's see how this base trade goes. The base goes down immediately. I think KJ's just got to keep going. Do not turn around and go back home. It's never going to be good for you. But yes, you're going to lose with this army defensively, but if you can just buy yourself enough time, maybe it makes a difference. You got some Dragonflies here as well. And look at how much time he's buying. He's actually doing very well with his mammoths. Finally, they will go down.
Oh, but destroyers against the main, though. Oh my god, Rotti. This is actually going to be mega close. This may be the closest game of the day, because I think destroyers, once they start clicking on the main, they have to go for the main. Stop worrying about everything else. Click on the main with your destroyers. Do you believe in the power of the destroyer?
No, the destroyers are good, right? I think they're enough.
Oh my god.
It's actually very close. I got no idea.
I still think the destroyer. I think the destroyer. It is so close. Can Tofu build some units? Tofu can build some units. No, something. A scorpion, anything. I think. Oh my god, Rotti, what is this?
I've got no idea. I actually have no idea who wins.
Destroyers win. Destroyers win. It's Tofu who takes the 1-0 lead. Oh my.
Wow.
Oh my. Oh my. That was actually the closest call we've seen all weekend long. That was really, really, really close.
I mean, I didn't even know, like, the base HP was like going down so similarly as well, though. I know we had destroyers on one side, but like it was still very close when I was jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going back and forth as well, and at one point I saw the core in the top right of KJ turning gold, and I was like, oh, that is a bad sign, because I didn't see the bottom left go gold yet, and there are still those four destroyers. That was mega close. I've had a couple of very, very close games myself throughout like the last 2 weeks, but that one was very, very close.
By the way, for the colors, I don't think we can fix it because everyone has their own color preset in the beta for some reason. So if they are just both red, they're just both red. Like nothing can really change, unfortunately. So it's just going to be a confusing one.
Alright, well, we'll work through it. We survived. Tofu takes the 1-0 lead in a game where it looked like he was losing. So maybe a banger of a best of 7 to wrap it up towards the very end. Hell
yeah. I'm down to see some fun games, man. Some back and forth, some crazy base trades. That was obviously very, very close. We head straight into game 2. Again, after a game like that, I don't think either player kind of looks at changing that deck, right? Like, this was close enough that you just run it back. So, let's go for round 2. I feel like these guys are agreeing.
KJ is going to change it up, mate. KJ says destroyers are too damn good. If we base trade, I want to have destroyers. So, KJ goes destroyer.
The destroyer isn't good against anything his opponent has, though, apart from maybe the behemoth, right? So, if we get to that point.
But if we're base trading, he needs destroyers.
If we're base trading, he's like, I'm looking 8 minutes into this game's future, and I want some destroyers to base trade with.
Obviously, guys, stuff like these color things, it will get fixed. It's a closed beta, quite literally. And this is also why the game is going to go offline on Sunday night. So the team has time to work on these things, take care of it. This whole beta phase was an idea to show the game to the world, show the game to you guys, give you a chance to play it, get familiar with the concept of the game. That's obviously very different because we've never had an RTS like this. Some of you guys don't even think it's an RTS. I don't think it matters as long as the game is fun. But obviously this kind of stuff will be fixed in the future.
Yep. One of those, we're going to be able to select our own colors next time, I think, is one of the things they've already said they're going to be working on. So that'll be fun, as the Scorpions have a surround potential here, and they are going to force the recall, but that means the Scorpions are going to get fully surrounded, and KJ gets caught. And Tofu is the first to draw blood.
Yeah, that's not what you expect either, right? If you have scorpions, how on earth are you supposed to lose 5 scorpions against just a scorpion? So great catch there by Tofu, very well done. Unlucky for KJ, who is still going for a mix between the scorpions and the recallers. Goes air once more, while Tofu goes ground. Man, this is actually tough. I almost feel if you're KJ building mammoths, I don't think it's really the play. I think you just double, triple, quadruple down on dragonflies, close your eyes, and you hope that the dragonflies completely dominate.
Well, we are going to see the dragonflies able to build a couple shockers and a destroyer so far from our Tofu, our challenger. And he is going to be just setting up in the front as he protects his third base. As KJ was a little bit later on the third, but not too much later. And we are going to start potentially looking for something of a fight here. This mix of Scorpion, Recall, Mammoth against the Shockers going to be the real kind of headliners. We actually see a couple of Dragonflies popping out. Can maybe get those across and hit some mineral lines, or some worker lines, I should say.
I feel like KJ can win this, obviously. You can always win, but I do think he's going to have to play seriously better than his opponent, because the armies, I don't think are going to skill in his favor at all. I missed the splash damage in his army, like you said in the beginning. Meanwhile, the Shockers are going to be fantastic. The Destroyers are going to be fantastic against the Mammoths. I feel like KJ can only really win due to great harassments or eventually like a very smart airplay. If I look at a couple of butterflies just chilling at home, yeah, that's not that fantastic of an airplay, right? Maybe tier 3 right now. He's got money for it. Tier 3 air could be a play.
Okay. He goes for it.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it, but I also feel like we should have done more with the Dragonflies than we've done so far. This is not the fight. Dragonflies are just leading the charge. Marty, they're so exposed.
Yeah, the Blank Hunter's just going to be able to take that fight very easily. Initially, Destroyers have been chunking through some of the Mammoths. As just going to pull back. We do have more Shockers showing up, so we can break through the front line. We just want those Destroyers to keep hitting the Mammoths and to clean those out. The Recalls are going to start getting to the front and dealing some damage, but now the Blink Hunters can also focus up. The only thing I'd say for Tofu is I'd love to see his air attack come online, because if he gets to airships, this is a very easy answer to those bulwarks. In the end, he kind of loses out because he sticks around a bit too long. He loses the Destroyers before he gets all the Mammoths. That's going to keep KJ kind of in this at the front. Is what we are pretty even on supplies. Obviously, KJ's tier 3 tech comes online sooner than his opponent's kind of air tech to kind of counter that. But KJ doesn't have money banked up to build bulwark right now.
That was an incredibly close fight, actually. I thought it was going to go a little bit better for Tofu at first, and it went. But some of his Shockers were inactive, just like these Shockers are inactive. And the Recallers, they really shine. If they don't have to worry about the Shockers, they are absolutely amazing against the Scorpions, especially with a bunch of Mammoths in front of them. These fights are omega close between the two. But tier 3 air should be fantastic for KJ. Now, do we already have some? Did you forget about it, mate? You fired it up. What about some bulwarks here?
Yeah, I feel like the Shockers could target fire the Recalls a little bit sooner, because those Recalls are just sitting behind the Mammoths and doing so much damage. But then once the Mammoths are able to hit the Shockers going to run into a lot of trouble. Now the Destroyers are right in the front, so they need to be careful. They need to be very, very cautious here.
No. So he's building a Dragonfly, he's building Mammoths, he's building Recallers. He's got tier 3 air body, and it's actually pretty damn good against tier 1 anti-air.
Yeah, but I mean, Tofu can build airships if he needs to, right? So maybe that's why KJ is afraid of committing to the tier 3 air? Or do you think you should just send it anyway? You think it's always good?
Yeah, that is a good point, and we do have a couple of airships showing up, but I mean, if we're that afraid of it, why the hell did we go for it?
Maybe he just didn't think he would switch into air himself. Or he had him busy enough, right? Like,
that's true. That's true. Maybe a nice little run by here, by the way, by KJ in the natural. That can actually deal some very good damage. Scorpions are going to get on top of the workers. As the fight in the center is obviously going to be a great fight for the Destroyers. Destroyers, airships, Shockers. It is red against red. We know it's a tiny bit confusing. But if you look at this army in the mini-map, the green army in the mini-map, I want to say it looks fantastic. Especially if the Destroyers just shoot at the units they are supposed to be shooting at. KJ is in a bit of trouble. What do we build?
He can't afford anything. He just doesn't have the money, so he just keeps building what he's been building. But one Mammoth strolling into this just is not going to be enough, and Tofu is going to hold out on the bottom side of this third and just get rid of that. And he did lose some workers at home, but now he's a base up. He can sit and chill a little bit, and KJ has to figure out what he's finally going to build. Maybe time to get a bulwark going, like you say, but I don't think he's rich enough to afford them in any good numbers now.
I mean, I feel like bulwarks, I haven't seen them battle airships a whole lot. But I actually think if it's 3-base against 3-base economy, shouldn't the Bull Arcs do okay? Because it's a tier 3 air unit. And I know airship is supposed to be anti-air. But if you look at how Dragonflies perform as GG gets called, KJ realizes he's just too far behind. I feel like if you look at how Dragonflies perform against airships, sure, airships do better. But it's not like 2 airships will kill 7 better Dragonflies, right? Like, it doesn't work like that. So I really think that if we invest in tier 3 by KJ, we should have gone for the Bull Arcs. And I think they would have done all right.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I have not seen bulwarks enough at all to really make a statement. So I just scared of those airships, man.
Yeah, but
freaking scary when they show up.
Like, I've had a couple of games where my opponent had a bunch of Dragonflies, and I was like, oh, okay, I see 6 Dragonflies, I send 3 airships, I look away, I look back, 3 airships gone, mate. Like, they just, it's not like, oh, 1 airship kills 4 Dragonflies. They're good, but they're not that insanely good. While the Bull Arcs are also mega tanky, they've got a lot of HP. I think Bull Arcs would have been the play for KJ. Because on the ground, with this setup, he doesn't win it. Like, you just don't beat the Destroyers. You don't beat the Shockers, unless there really is a micro error, of course.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think given the decks that they were on, I think he was actually right to kind of try and get to that tier 3 air, so then actually make use of it, get it built. So from there is, we are going to see same decks again, right? No changes.
I feel like KJ should swap out Heavy Hunter, even if he is used to running Heavy Hunter and maybe he's traumatized by losing to Falcons, like everybody I think has gone through a phase already where we lose a lot of games against Falcons. But you don't need Heavy Hunter against everybody, because not everyone is necessarily great with Falcons, even though Tofu has Falcons in his deck. But like the kind of, like, you can't just sit on 2 bases, build Falcons and expect to win. So if Tofu is maybe not fantastic with it, I'd love to see KJ swap out Heavy Hunter for Mortar. I think Mortar would be insanely good for him.
Yeah. I still think he can get rid of the Destroyers. I know, like, it kind of feels like you want them to shut down some bases, but, like, they just do not play a role in his deck.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a justification for building them at all right now.
I've seen KJ play a decent amount of games, and I feel like naturally he likes to be the aggressor. He likes to be out and about and battle on the other side of the map. So maybe maybe playing a combo like Heavy Hunter Mortar, which is extremely passive, like, it's something that just scares him or terrifies him, because he's like, oh, that's not what I'm good at. But I actually think that's exactly what he needs here. And honestly, I am not a tank player in StarCraft II. I've never been. I barely know how to siege and unsiege a tank. But I do love using mortars in battle aces. And I actually feel like they're easy to use to some degree. You know exactly where to siege them. I would love to see KJ give it a shot.
Well, it's Tofu that's pressing the aggression switch at the moment. They both went 3 bases. They're both going to go ground tech here. I just don't know if we have an answer on the ground to the Shockers still.
But if we fire up tier 3 immediately, I might believe. If KJ, the moment that tier 2 is done, he says tier 3 Foundry and we go heavy ballista, I might believe.
I could absolutely believe in that. I think that's his best shot. I don't think him sitting on the initial Foundry tech is going to be it at all.
No. I mean, KJ is definitely more than competitive in these games so far, but he's down 0-2 and he needs to be careful. He needs to deal with another Scorpion run by in his natural. Okay, we have a couple of recallers. I want to see it, Wade. I want to see tier 2 Foundry, bam, tier 3 immediately, and then just hope that we can survive with a mixture between Scorpions and recallers.
Is he brave enough to just start up tier 3 is going to be the question so far. No, he's got the money. He builds Destroyers. And a lot of Scorpions too. Come on, KJ. There's only one way we're going to win this, mate, and that is if we go heavy ballistas. Yeah, his army's just not good. I like Destroyers just don't provide any bonus damage to anything on this field.
No.
So that's rough.
I am indeed very worried. KJ was so excited to play this best of 7, and obviously best of 7s can go by incredibly quick. He's gone up against Tofu, but Tofu just has the counter, the hard counter, the blueprint to deal with everything that KJ has. And KJ needs to swap it up, but he doesn't want to swap it up. I mean, Mass Destroyer. Destroyers suck against Scorpions. Oh, Waddy, look at this. The saddest Destroyers I've ever seen. This is the only game I've ever seen where I look at Destroyers, I'm like, yeah, they're not that good.
Destroyers need a buff, don't they?
No, they don't. They really, really don't. Poor KJ. KJ needs to swap it up. Even if it goes against his nature, even if he wants to be an aggressive player, like, mate, get rid of Heavy Hunter or get rid of Destroyer. Ideally, get rid of Destroyer because, like you said, everything that Tofu is running is not that great against Destroyers. So, please go for something like Mortar. Or go your own shocker and make it Shocker Wars, right? Why not?
Shocker was. I honestly, I think shockers are fine. Shocker versus shocker. The thing is, if you feel confident and comfortable, you can absolutely go shocker versus shocker because then it's a micro war and decision war. So then you can try and out strategize and out control your opponent. But yeah, I don't mind that. Like playing mirror matchups, if you feel like you're confident and favored, should always be kind of good for you.
Yep. This is also why, guys, a couple of MMR points doesn't matter all that much. Tofu is 700 points below KJ, but obviously his units just work very well against the units of KJ, and KJ needs to swap it up. Yeah.
Let's see what the choice is. As we load in, does KJ have any switches? Or is Tofu going to continue? I feel like right now, okay, he does switch it. He goes Wasp, Hornet, he's got Stingers, he's got King Crabs, Mortars.
He's a brand new man. Waddy, who is this guy?
Yeah, this guy's just like, oh, this is the deck I was going to play today. I found it now. Yeah, okay. Big switch up. I like that a lot. I think that's amazing. That's going to give us some new life in this best of 7, which was very Tofu favored up until now.
Yep, even though the games were close, but I mean, KJ just made life incredibly tough on himself. That was an unfair fight. That was never really going to go his way like that. So I do like that we have switched it up. I don't know if it was really necessary to go for a full 180, because if he's not losing because of Scorpion Recaller, right? Even though those skirmishes didn't go perfect for him, he could have played it better. But that's not why he was losing the games. He was losing the games because he just had no answer whatsoever for the shockers of Tofu. Not at all.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we have our Wasps on the map, so at least KJ can be the aggressor a little bit now. He can take that third base a little bit sooner. It is scary, though, if you're playing these Wasps. You're going to have to be very careful getting tech up and online, because if shockers walk across the map, Wasps will melt. So that's the kind of question mark that we have. Can we be effective enough with these Wasps, and can we survive the push onto your third? I feel like KJ needs to tech right now, and he does start it up as he gets that power.
Yeah, no, the tag was picture perfect. He did not waste any seconds. He's gone King Krabbies. He's gone Mortars. I almost only want to see Mortars because we know that this is a really good expend timing, by the way, by Tofu. Because sure, his third base is a little bit later, but he's going to get a devastating push. It's going to be hard. KJ indeed needs to buy time, like you said. I don't know if this is a fight that the Wasp can take, but KJ is confident in it. Maybe it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Gets a full...
It's really good when you surround the Scorpions like that. Scorpions really struggle. What is good is the Scorpions came in from the bottom right as reinforcements, though, and I think that's enough to kind of break through. Now we're in trouble because the Wasps are a little bit too deep. They needed to back away to the right side. The only good thing is you're buying a bit of time. The shockers are not moving across the map, maybe. Some Wasps move in. Do not turn around the shockers. Go. Go, go, go.
Oh, I mean, this is working out beautifully for KJ. It's sad for Tofu. This is not the correct play. While Tofu fires up tier 3, he says behemoths, baby.
Okay. Maybe the call against the fact that your opponent's going mortars, but I really think he could have had a lot of damage done on this third base if he just went and did not stop. Obviously, still might find something, but the mortars are moving into position, so it's going to become that much more difficult. Mortars will siege quite far forward, which is what they need to stop units kind of sitting in front of the base and hitting. So KJ gets siege. His third should be alive. We are going to see some Scorpions in the natural, though, and KJ has no answer to that right now, but he is going to try and take a fourth base. Looks like a few Scorpions will start to make their way over there already.
All we have to do is just set a single mortar right now. Once we have 3 bases saved, a single mortar in natural, we're safe. But that fourth base body that you mentioned, work as pop. But Tofu is there immediately, even though he's attacking the main. And I want to say that's not really a play. Should be going for workers here, because it's just a matter of time before a single mortar is going to make his way over here as well. Missed opportunity. Tofu could have gone for the workers.
Could have had a little bit more. As you will see, more shockers moving out into the center of the map. It's another Wasp from my top left-hand side, missing vision up there, so that will hit the base before we have a response. The Behemoths are coming forwards. Can these Behemoths just walk into mortars? Is that possible?
Well, I mean, obviously Wasp is not the biggest tank, but if all the mortars siege, I want to say no way. We do need to siege everything, though. And ideally, we can have a couple King Krabbies, because there are no too many destroyers, right? I see a couple, maybe. It's hard to say how many destroyers are in this army. I mean, KJ is everywhere. Look at the minimap. KJ has gone for a brand new deck. I feel like he's a brand new man.
But I feel like he's not actually doing that well, despite being everywhere, because he's actually losing just a lot of different Wasp groups. And he killed a handful of workers, but not that many.
Maybe.
And he's down a lot of supply, although he does build up a heavy ballista, a few more Wasps now, so he does have some extra tech coming up. There are some King Crabs on this bottom side, as I think this little Shocker Scorpion squad is going to get denied, and he didn't get the base, so this bottom right attack could have been a lot better, and I think he might still get this base over here as he's going to turn back around. We are going to start moving forwards. This is going to be a decision to go into the mortars without the support being there for them, and we are going to be able to get on top of them, Rotti. We are going to kill every mortar here, and now we can just turn and fight, and are we okay? The Behemoths are doing their job of tanking.
Oh my goodness, where are those heavy ballistas? We had 1 or 2 of them, but they got picked off. The men just ran in on top of 8-9 mortars. And it turns out to be the correct decision. A couple of heavy ballistas show up, but it is not in time to save the third, or is it? If the Behemoths make up their mind, it should never be. Tofu immediately goes up to 4 bases himself. Pretty epic battle. If only we had a couple of those king crabbies, right, tanking for those mortars. If we just had anything, literally anything, tanking for those 8 mortars. But I also really can't blame KJ. He probably thought that was enough mortars not to step in the circles. But Tofu has no fear.
I think that was a moment where we should have probably done something kind of... When you're winning this fight on the third, this is a perfect moment to send just a couple of reinforcements to the bottom right. Because I think he could have denied that base already right now as well. Because KJ was so frantic about defending the center. As, yeah, he is set up right now. The mortars may not get too much damage here. They will fire not a single time. Oh, and that's not pretty, as now the heavy ballistas are on their own. The king crabs are on their own because everything is just coming in fragmented. And it is looking as though Tofu is on his way to victory.
Tofu played well, good calls throughout the entire series. I wasn't certain if walking into that many mortars was the play, but those biomorphs, as you call them, those are some tanky boys, man. That's one of the first ground units I've seen look at mortars. I gotta say, mammoths are pretty good against mortars as well, right?
We saw some crazy mammoths into mortars yesterday.
Yeah, those were awesome. Oh, sad for KJ. KJ kind of rescheduled his entire day. I feel like he was supposed to have a shopping day in Baltimore, but he was so excited when we asked him to play a best of 7. Everyone will be watching. He's been loving the Battle Aces. And it seems like Tofu is just a little too much. I mean, we might still have a tiny chance, even though now we have to worry about Falcons too. Look at those triangles of death making their way to the other side of the map. And we don't have heavy hunters anymore.
They have nothing.
This is where KJ rips out his hairs and he's like, it's the first time I play a game without heavy hunters, and those fucking Falcons are back again. Yeah, they really are.
Well, there's a little wasp counterattack down the bottom, but the shockers nearby, so those wasps will not get anywhere near far enough forwards. We are going to see the Behemoths can just lead in, but honestly, you don't need to lead in with the Behemoths. The Falcons should just be able to do this on their own accord, and in they go. As we will just take this fight. Everything will run forwards. Yeah, I mean, Hornets are being made, but there's just no world in which they are going to be enough. GG's, and Tofu takes the 4-0.